Hi, thanks very much for inviting Gabby and myself along today. We are from TechFest, which is a Aberdeen-based charity working across Scotland, running STEM engagement for schools. Can you flick on to the next slide, please, Gabby? Yeah, as you know, everybody, we want to teach young people STEM so that we inspire them and inform them about future careers. So TechFest's been running for 40 years now. We're well known in the Northeast for the festivals that we run. We've actually got Schools Festival next week and the Aberdeen Science Festival in September. But we also have a really wide range of schools programs, which you can get all the information on our website. But the three that we have on Marketplace that Gabby and I want to tell you about today are STEM Next, STEM into Innovation, and Blueprint. And at this stage, I'll hand over to Gabby because there is absolutely no one who is more passionate about STEM Next than Gabby. So I'll let her tell you all about it.
Hello, everyone. So I'm Gabby, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about our STEM Next project. So what is STEM Next? Well, STEM Next is a solo project for all students aged 16 to 18 years. And students are required to independently research and write an essay on one of the available topics. For this year's competition, we've come up with 18 wonderful topics for students to consider. And this essay is not purely STEM-based, which is great because students of various interests can take part. In addition, as part of the essay criteria, students are asked to interview at least one industry professional or academic to gain some inside knowledge about their essay topic. And based on the feedback that we received from previous year students, interviewing somebody for their essay is one of the best highlights for the students and also for the volunteers who are being interviewed. And just to add, a list of professionals or academics to interview will be provided to students as well. But if students want to interview somebody they know personally, that is totally fine as well. And I've got a little video here, but I'm not going to show it to you just because we are limited on time. But I believe the presentation will be sent to all of you later. So please watch the highlight video should you wish. And so this year we've got 3 essay categories available, and each of them has got 6 essay topics for students to consider. So the categories are energy in action, medicine and life sciences, and chemistry and biological sciences. Now, you may wonder, why STEM Next? So STEM Next is really a fantastic opportunity for all students to learn transferable skills that they can utilize in their future studies or careers. Skills such as networking, communication, essay writing, critical analysis, and so on. And in addition, all students who submit their essay will be eligible for the CREST Awards, and the first, second, and third place winners in each category will receive Amazon vouchers. In addition, STEM Next is a great project for students to include to their UCAS application as well. And lastly, important things to mention. So registration for STEM Next is already open, and students may register until 14th of June. And the project officially launches on the 17th of June. Now, what do I really mean when I say the project officially launches on 17th of June? By this, I mean that students will be sent student support materials on 17th of June, and only those students who manage to register will receive the student support materials. This project is also great because it requires minimal, like super minimal involvement from the teachers, and students must register individually, and it's an essay writing, so you know they have to do the researching part and write their essay on their own, really. so minimal or no involvement from the teacher as well, which is great for the teachers. And the deadline for students to submit their essay is 30th of August, and the winning students will be announced in November. Also, in addition, as part of student support materials, we'll send links to the YouTube videos that we created in order to support students on topics such as referencing, where to start, how to plan essay writing, how to interview industry professional, how to approach them, what questions to ask. As well as that, we have collaborated with University of Aberdeen, who are going to host a session on essay writing and things that all students should know before they start writing their essay. So what is really, what's the next step really now is if you could please share this QR code with your students or schools, or link to our STEM Next website, so students can check out the available essay topics and register their interest should they wish to take part in our STEM Next project. So I think this is it from me. I believe we have a Q&A session in the end, so I'll be happy to answer your questions then. And thank you, and back to you, Wendy.
And just to add, it went international last year, Gabby, didn't it?
It did, for sure. Yes, last year and the year before.
Fantastic. Great. So over to me again. So the second in, as if it's difficult to follow STEM Next, the Blueprint Challenge I love because it truly is cross-curricular. It allows young people who are perhaps slightly more creative to get involved. So for this project, we ask young people to reimagine the high street. So not just saying, oh, we want less tattoo parlors and charity shops and better parking. They can design this high street any way they want, but what we want them to look at is how it's going to be powered, and they can use futuristic technology so long as they can evidence that it is emerging technology. So last year we had a lot who looked at places in France where they have kinetic flooring. So as you walk through the shop, through the mall, or along the pedestrian area, that was generating electricity for the street light. So this is the sort of thing that we encourage them to use their imagination, so long as it's based on some level of reality. So there's the architecture side in designing the high street. They need to think about how they will power the high street, but also looking at the health and well-being of the people who will live and work there. So slightly different to just a architectural design project, a really good opportunity for them to work as a team and look at the different areas. Next slide, please, Gabby. So it's open to S3 and S6 pupils. And we think, I've been involved in previous jobs of lots of things where industry has actually gone to young people and given them a problem because there is no can't do with their imagination. So they might just come up with a nice little nugget that helps us to reimagine this program. So that's Blueprint, and again, happy to take any questions later on. And last but most definitely not least, click on the next slide, please, Gabby, is our STEM into innovation. So this is a three-phase program. Phase 1 is running now, and it's where we help young people to understand product development or design, all the way through from concept to something coming into use. So the first phase is delivered entirely by teachers, and we provide the resources, videos, workbook information for the teachers to do that in the classroom. And young people will use the medium of telecommunications. So they learn about the evolution of telecommunications all the way back to the telegraph up to today's modern smartphone. And within that, they can also see how rapidly the timelines between each paradigm shift are reducing, therefore understanding how quickly you need to be evolving to keep your product in business, but understanding why it's so important that young people understand technology and innovation because it's moving so quickly. So the second phase will be a practical masterclass. So we've already partnered in Edinburgh with the Robotarium, and they will have speakers who will come in there and talk about how they do product design. So whether that's the next care robot that will evolve in the Robotarium, or something perhaps that the National Manufacturing Institute of Scotland are doing in Glasgow. We're hoping to work with them. So that's quite exciting. And then the third phase will be where students will actually design and build something, whether that's done by 3D printing or card or whatever. Then there'll be different opportunities for that. So we're at phase 1 now. A lot of schools have signed up for that, and then the other phases we're working on phase 2 and phase 3 to follow. And I think that's it. We have lots more programs at TechFest. Please do go and have a look at our website. Gabby and I's contact details are on the slides, and yeah, we look forward to your questions at the end.
That's great. Thank you very much, Wendy and Gabby. Yep, folks, we'll have time for questions at the end, but if you can think of anything along the way, please feel free to pop it in the chat as well, and we can come back to it so you don't forget those questions once we get to the end of the presentations. So I'm going to hand over to Connor to tell us all about construction work tasters now.
Thank you, Claire. I'll just share my screen. So if you just let me know when that's on, Claire, if that's okay.
It's just doing the circle thing just now. Give it a minute. Technology is great when it works.
Coming up for me.
It's there now.
Fab, thank you. And hi everyone, my name's Connor. I'm based in the DYW national team, and today I'm actually highlighting three things in one go, which I don't know if that's me being efficient or a little bit cheeky, but I'll talk through them all, and I'll keep this concise and to time as well, because I know there is time at the end for some questions. The first thing that I just want to highlight today is an opportunity that's on Marketplace, and that is the Construction Work Tasters project. Construction Work Tasters project is something that we've been working on in the DYW national team for a couple of years now, where we're working with construction employers to increase the number of work taster opportunities being provided to 16 to 25-year-olds across Scotland. So this is a national offering. Work tasters are that short, condensed sort of work experience type opportunity where young people go into the work environment, whether that's an office or construction site, and they spend time with employers, finding out a little bit about the jobs available in that company and the different pathways and careers that are in the construction sector. It's an opportunity for young people who do have an interest in construction, and they get to find out a little bit more about the right roles which suit their interests that they already have. Or for young people who don't know what they want to do post-school or post-college, post-university, it's a chance for them to find out about all the different roles and pathways that do exist in the construction sector, many of which the majority of us don't actually know exist. The main thing that we're trying to do for this project is embed some evaluation amongst employers that are delivering work tasters, so that we're getting to hear from young people directly, what does good look like when it comes to work tasters? And beyond that, what a work taster actually is isn't too predefined or prescriptive, because a work taster can take place for an hour for a group of young people, or it can take place for a full day for one young person, depending on the employer and their capacity and what it is that they're looking to deliver. At the moment, with this type of experience, as you might expect, we won't be able to fulfill every request that there is for young people to participate in work tasters. The demand from schools and from young people and youth groups to participate in this at the moment far outstrips the supply of opportunities from employers. But what we're doing for this project is, where you're working with young people who you think would benefit from participating in something like this, we're using our network of national employers that we're in regular conversation with, or that I'm in regular conversation with, as well as regional employer networks, to go out and ask if there are opportunities that can be put on, because we're seeing through this project so far that there's a lot of value in young people just having that one-day opportunity to actually see what construction looks like before making a decision to go for it in their college apprenticeship decisions, or to rule it out completely. And similarly, if you're working with employers that aren't doing this type of activity, but you think it's something that would benefit young people if they were, then by all means introduce them to me, because like I said, the main aim of this project is to have the number of work taster opportunities for young people increased, and that's only going to happen by me working with more and more employers. The second opportunity I just wanted to highlight is not on Marketplace yet, but it will be. This is a virtual construction work taster, which was due to take place in a couple of weeks. It has been postponed. That decision was just taken this morning due to a low uptake in it, and it will take place in the next academic year, perhaps in November, December. And through this opportunity, we have 3 different construction sector employers who will be delivering 3 work taster days, which will either run over the course of a week or perhaps one day on separate weeks. This is all part of the discussion, given that we've had quite a lot of uptake for the one that was due to take place in a couple of weeks. But there's a really good opportunity here for lots of young people, perhaps in more rural locations where they don't have access to larger construction firms, to actually find out about the opportunities that exist in this sector for them. So if this is something that you think might benefit any young people that you're working with, let me know as soon as possible, because what we'll be doing in the next week or so is discussing the viability of this running later in the year, and part of that will be just trying to gather an idea of how much interest. Lisa, I've seen your question come in. I'll not take it because we'll answer them at the end, otherwise I could get myself into a habit where Claire tells me off, but I will answer that one. Thank you for the question. And the final thing I just wanted to touch upon is not so much, it's not as much as an offer as the other ones, but through the Work Tasters project, we're, as I said, trying to find out from young people as best possible what their views are on Work Tasters and what their expectations are when they attend one, what they would like to get out of them. And one way that we're doing that is through the feedback and evaluation forms after people participate. A second way is Claire and I are working with youth groups and schools at the moment to run focus groups for young people, and they're giving us that information and their views and thoughts on what they perceive the construction sector to be like to work in and what they would like from a work taster. A second element that we have to that is a survey, and this is something that we're asking as many young people as possible to complete, just because it will help us to then provide some guidance documents for industry so that they can go away and increase the consistency and the quality of what they're delivering where they're already running work tasters. And for those employers that we want to get started with them, it will help create those guidance documents just to get them started. So this is something that Claire will share a link to after this meeting, and for every young person that participates, there is a chance that they will win an Amazon voucher. There is a prize draw, so it's in their interest as well to take part a little bit, but really for us it's really going to help shape what we can create for industry in terms of these guides going into the 3rd year of the Work Taster project. I think that's everything from me, Claire, so I will hand back to you, and obviously happy to take any questions at the end.
Great, thank you very much, Connor. And yes, I will share slide decks and links afterwards for folks as well. So if there's anything you've missed there, you can still catch up on it. So now I'm going to pass over to Joe from Springboard, who's not Springboard, Springpod, who is going to take, almost change your organisation there, Joe, who's going to take us through the Springpod offer that is on Marketplace.
You're not the first person that said that, Claire. To know. So yeah, I'm gonna whiz you through. It would be impossible to do this in 6 minutes, but I'm going to highlight perhaps some of the opportunities that your young people can take part in with Springpod. So you may or may not be familiar with us, but we're an online careers platform. We're open to anyone, globally now, in fact. So we have students all over the place that take part in what experiences of the workplace, so they can use us to get insight into various different sectors. They can also use us to gain experiences of university as well. So these have been really popular in terms of giving students that opportunity to kind of develop their sort of super curricular and knowledge of a particular degree subject before they actually apply for it. But for the purposes of today, I'm probably going to focus mostly on the experience side of it. So any student can take part, and all of our experiences are about developing the skills, knowledge and awareness of the different career pathways available to them. So we have students that participate for a number of reasons, really. So some of them just want to find out a bit more about what careers might be available. Maybe there could very well be careers that they discover that they've never actually heard of before, which is brilliant. So we like to kind of broaden their horizons and dispel any kind of myths or stereotypes they might have about particular roles. They're very, very easy and accessible and flexible to take part. So it does mean, again, that if you haven't got a particular industry in your local area, it means that you can still easily take part in an experience with a company that perhaps isn't necessarily based on your doorstep. They're all virtual experiences, so that also means that they're good. A lot of schools will use them for students that perhaps are a bit anxious of going out on a real life experience, or maybe need that little bit of preparation before they go out on an in-person experience. And obviously virtual, I just say, to students when I talk to them, you can just try things. So yeah, you might start something and it's not for you, but that's still a really positive experience. So we've already got a lot of young people in Scotland who use us from a good spread of schools and colleges. The way that they take part in these experiences is they can just literally start on the day. A lot of them are on demand, and they will get enrolled onto like a program. And on that program, they hear from people from that company who will talk to them about their day-to-day jobs. They will complete tasks and activities. So it's certainly not just reading and watching things. They have to do something. So it's that active learning side of things. So we work really closely with all the employers to create tasks and activities that really give the students the chance to reflect on whether they would like to do something like that if that was in their kind of day-to-day work. And all the time, obviously, we're focused on developing those important skills, knowledge and attitudes to prepare them for the workplace. They may also discover some real opportunities. So a lot of the employers that we work with will have offices based in Scotland, and they may, about 60% of the programs that we offer will have an offer of something else at the end of it. So that could be an invite to an insight day, or an opportunity to apply for further experiences actually in real life. But overall, we just want students to try these to kind of to develop their knowledge and help them feel more confident about the decisions that they're making. So these are just some of the companies we work with. Interestingly, we were just saying about listening about the construction industry. So there's some big construction companies here as well, that if you just wanted to kind of have a bit of a taster before applying for some kind of in-person opportunities, these could be a nice thing to try out. And there's companies like the Met Office, for example, which I have got a slide on coming up, who they Met Office created an experience with us because basically all the in-person work experience was going to sons and daughters that worked at the Met Office. Now the Met Office have got an office, I believe, in Aberdeen, and they are looking into creating more opportunities actually in real life for students who have completed the virtual experience. So they don't let anyone apply for the in-person work experience until they've completed the virtual. So how does it work? They're all self-led and flexible. So this means that your young people can literally log on as and when they choose, or as when they're directed by you. So they just have to create an account and then click start. So there's no lengthy application form. You don't have to wait. Don't have to complete any references. They literally just get going. So some of them are just very short experience sprints. So these are brilliant because they're just kind of someone from the company like Amazon would just introduce a task. The student would go off and do the task, and then the person from, for example, Amazon or Fujitsu would come back on and saying, well, if I was doing this in my job, I would have done it this way. So they can be a really short, sharp experience that can be incredibly useful. So they really don't take that long. There may be webinars that the young people can watch recorded or live. We have some brilliant ambassador platforms where young people can ask questions as well, so they can have that interaction directly with the employer. So if they're completing a task or activity and they want to ask a question, or they just want to ask someone from that company something about their own career journey, they can do that in a very safeguarded platform. So it's all anonymized and safeguarded. And obviously they get a nice certificate every time they do something. So yeah, this is the Met Office one. I just thought I'd show this one because you can see what it looks like. So as soon as a student applies, they get taken to this sort of almost like a sort of module. So there's usually about 9 modules. They work their way through. We approve the tasks and activities that they upload, and all along the way they can be making contact and with people from like the company, as I say, to ask their own questions. So yeah, 10 out of 10. You can see that the students really enjoy them. They get a lot out of them. Obviously, we would never we always think in person is extremely valuable, but these just perhaps offer an alternative to kind of experience some other industries. So all the student has to do is, once they've created an account, they just tell us which school they're from, and that's also how schools can track and see what their students have able to do. So we can set up dashboards for schools, so they can see which programs the students are completing, and they simply explore virtual work experience. There's about 90 plus programs that are open now that students can start. You get a bit of an overview of what the program will cover, and then you just simply click start or apply. And then as soon as you do that, your experience will sit on your dashboard under my virtual work experience. And obviously, yeah, these are the university tasters as well. So I would just encourage anyone that's interested to have a look. You can create your own student account if you want to, and just enroll yourself onto the programs if you want to get a bit of a feel about what they're like. I have got a little community there of interested teachers, careers advisors, and that's where you get a monthly newsletter from me, and I can let you know if there's any interesting developments. So do sign up to that, because it'd be great to have more representatives from Scottish schools as well. So the hand has gone up, and I think that is my last slide. So again, more than happy to take questions, but that's my 6 minutes, 6 slides, I think.
That's great. Thank you very much, Jo. And I think your session there about the opportunity at the Met Office was speaking to me after the weather chat at the start. So we didn't plan that at all. That was just a serendipity sort of moment that those two worlds collided. But that's brilliant. Thank you very much for sharing that. So last but not least, we're now going to go on to James from Social Enterprise Schools / Social Enterprise Academy, who's going to take us through their marketplace offer.
Afternoon, everybody. So my plan here is just to take you on a quick 6-minute whistle-stop tour of what Social Enterprise Schools can offer. But afterwards, I'm going to flash my email address up, so I'd be more than happy to talk to any of you. Firstly, Social Enterprise Academy, we're a learning and development organisation. We've been operating in Scotland for more than 18 years now. And when we started, we were all about helping people in the third sector to improve their leadership skills, to improve the social impact of their business. And the Scottish Government liked what we were doing, so came along to us and asked us if we would be interested in teaching young people about social enterprise. But instead of teaching young people about social enterprise, we thought the best way to do it would be to actually let young people set up their own social enterprises themselves. So at the moment, our offer is fully funded by the Scottish Government. So if you work in a school setting, anything that I talked about today comes at absolutely no cost. And also, over the past few years, we've been working internationally. So the programme that I'm going to describe to you is operating in England, it's operating in Wales, it's operating in Malaysia, South Africa, and is operated in Malawi and China as well. So there'll be an opportunity for you to match your young people up with young people from all across the world. So I've said social enterprise a few times, but I've not actually explained what a social enterprise is. What a social enterprise is, in its very simplest form, is like a little bit of a mixture between a charity and a business. It exists for the reason that a charity does, because somebody cares about an issue or they want to change something, but it makes its money the way that a business does. So a couple of wee examples of a social enterprise. These are my props. So this is my bag that I take everywhere. This is by an organisation called Madlug. They are based out in Northern Ireland, and pretty much the premise of their organisation was that they were working with young people in care, and they were seeing how often young people in care were having to bring their belongings about the place in big plastic bin bags, and they wanted to be able to do something about that. So Madlug started selling these rucksacks. As you can see, it's quite a nice rucksack I've got on myself. And then with the money that they bring in from that, they then give a rucksack to a young person in care. So it's all about selling a product that somebody wants and then providing a service that makes things easier for somebody. This, I feel a wee bit like a kids' TV presenter. This, one of my favourite t-shirts. This is by an organisation called the Blank Faces. They're a social enterprise that is based in Glasgow, and basically what they do is they work with homeless people. And what they've done is they actually work with homeless people. They provide art classes and they help them to be able to come up with designs for t-shirts. And then with the money that they bring in from the t-shirts that they sell, they give a cut to the homeless charities. So you see, it's kind of like a virtuous circle. And what really drives all of the work that we do is finding out what issues do young people really care about. So the service that we provide is that we provide workshops where a social entrepreneur, so somebody who will have set up their own social enterprise, just like the two that I've mentioned there, will go out into any school, any classroom for young people between the ages of 4 and 18 and find out what is the issue that they care about, who are the people that they want to help. And one of my favourite bits about the job is being able to be in those rooms and hear the amazing range of things that young people are passionate about or that they want to change in the world. And then what we help them do is we help them come up with a business that does something about it. So it's not just helping them to think about what that passion or that care is, but we help to fully resource them to be able to do something about it. But the important thing about social enterprise is that it's not just giving money to a charity. And I can give a great example from this year about a social enterprise that we set up in Barhead High School in East Renfrewshire. And we were working with a group of S2 girls who were setting up a nail salon. And what they wanted to do was that they wanted to do something about isolation in the elderly. And their first thought was that they were going to do the nail salon, paint teachers' nails, charge them for it, and then they were going to give some money to a charity. But then after a little bit of work with one of our facilitators, they realised that if they wanted to do something about isolation in the elderly, or they wanted to do something about making people feel less lonely, the best people to do it was actually themselves. So then, instead of just giving money away to a charity, what they've done is they've taken their wee nail bar out to the local old folks home, and they are actually actively involved in being able to reduce that loneliness themselves. And it's just an amazing thing, because that's when young people really feel the impact of seeing themselves as change makers, or people that can help to make things different. This slide just gives a few examples. Because I've not got very long, I'll talk you through Greenfields High School, just on the left-hand side. And the reason that I like talking about Greenfields High School is because they came to us not with an absolute blank canvas. They came to us because, like many schools all over Scotland, they'd invested in a coffee machine, and they were doing one of the NPAs and the barista skills, but they wanted to be able to do something that was going to make that come to life, that was going to make that real and make that impactful for their young people. So they decided to set up a social enterprise. And this group of young people won our Dragon's Den competition for some schools in the west of Scotland. And it was just amazing hearing them get up and speak so eloquently and so passionately about what they wanted to do with their social enterprise. Their whole thing was about improving young people's mental health. And they changed what was just sort of like a run-of-the-mill coffee shop into a place where people could feel really safe to come along and have a chat and feel like if there was things that were getting too much for them, or if school was getting a little bit too much, that they would have a little space. I could sit and talk until I was blue in the face about some of the amazing examples that we've had from social enterprises over the years, but I'll not take up too much more of your time. So like I said at the start, all of our support is fully funded for anybody that's in a school environment. So we offer teacher CPD, often through local authorities, but sometimes we can come out into your school and deliver that for staff as well. We offer a pupil workshop where your young people get the opportunity to come up with their ideas and work with a social entrepreneur on what their business can look like. We offer Dragon's Den competitions where the young people are able to come along, pitch their ideas, work on their presentation skills and really help it come to life. And then we give them a little bit of funding towards their idea. And as well as that, we've got our national awards, which will be taking place in a few weeks in Edinburgh. So if any of you are free and want to hear about that, give me a wee email, because we'd be more than happy to have you along, even just as a spectator. And then this is just my email address if you want to get in contact with us. But I asked me about the NPA up at the top, because we have just worked with the SQA, and we can now offer the NPA at level 4 in enterprise and employability to secondary schools across Scotland. And that's something that we're really excited to be doing next year that's a little bit different. So thank you for your time.